Today we have a battle of the pheasant hunting titans. We've got the Federal Prairie Storm against the Fiocchi Golden Pheasant. Who do you think is gonna come out on top? Carlson's gave me the choke tubes using this video, and Mossberg gave me the shotgun. George here with the New Hunter's Guide YouTube channel, and don't forget about that podcast. I'm a regular hunter who just so happens to have a PhD and a low tolerance for marketing hype, testing all kinds of stuff to try to figure out what really works. And today we have a long time requested video from you guys that you've wanted to see, and it has taken me a long time to find the right ammo to do this video. We're gonna test two of the most popular pheasant hunting loads on the market: the Fiocchi Golden Pheasant and the Federal Prairie Storm. Let's go ahead and meet our loads right now. You can see right here, the Fiocchi has a little bit more payload than the Federal. Both are number 5 shot, both 3-inch shells, of course. The Fiocchi has 297 pellets versus the Federal's 276. The Fiocchi, though, is running a bit slower, 1,200 feet per second versus the Federal's 1,350 feet per second. Now, a lot of people think that means that the Fiocchi is going to pattern better. Less velocity usually means less forces acting on the pellets, less pattern blowout, and tighter patterns. We also see a little bit less recoil on the Fiocchi due to that lower velocity, and our cost per shell for these two loads is identical. Now, how are we going to do this test? Well, we're going to set up targets at 30 yards and 40 yards. At 30 yards, we're going to test them with a Carlson Sporting Clays modified choke tube. The idea at this range is to simulate the average distance a shot is fired at a flushing pheasant. I know you can shoot them sooner, but very often, even if they flush at 15 or 20 yards, we let them get off the ground a little bit, up in the air, away from the dog, so they're out safe enough, and then we're taking shots, and we're just going to say, for the purpose of this test, 30-yard average. We're going to use a modified choke tube. Then we're going to test them at 40 yards using a Carlson Sporting Clays full choke tube. The idea here is if you're hunting birds that are wild, that are spooked, a lot of times this happens out west, you've got birds that are flushing at between 30, 40, or even 50 yards. So we're going to try to find ideal pattern density at long range using the full choke tube. Yes, we could go extra full. Yes, we could even go to a turkey choke if we really wanted to, but that's just not that realistic when it comes to pheasant hunting. So after we do those two pattern tests, then we're gonna ballistics gel test these two ammunitions against each other. Our goal here is to find out who patterns better, both at regular range and at longer range, and how much more ballistics gel penetration do we think we're gonna see with a higher velocity Prairie Storm. All right, let's head down to the range and see what we can learn. And I have made it down to the range. We've got the Mossberg loaded up here with the modified choke tube, and we're gonna go ahead and start here with the Federal. And next up, we've got the Fiocchi. All right, let's go take a look at the 30-yard targets. I've got the 30-yard targets laid out here. It is really sunny today, so I'm gonna try to keep my shadow out of the frame, but it's really hard. Let's go ahead and take a look. First up, we've got the Prairie Storm. Really good pattern. We pretty much got the whole thing. Then we've got the Golden Pheasant. Really good pattern as well. All right, let's go ahead and set up at 40 yards and we'll shoot the next two. And we are back at 40 yards. We've got our full choke tube on there, and then we've got the Federal Prairie Storm. And then next we've got the Fiocchi Golden Pheasant. In case you're wondering, yes, there's a lot of recoil on both of these. Let's go take a look. Now I've got the 40-yard targets laid out. As always, feel free to rewind and watch this segment multiple times. First, we've got the Federal. Really good pattern. Then we've got the Prairie Storm. Really good as well. All right, so bottom line, both of these are killing anything they hit at this range. We're gonna count up all these pellets, get this data, put it into a chart for you guys, but first, let's do some ballistics gel testing. And now it is time for the ballistics gel test. We are set up at 40 yards. I've got the Prairie Storm up first. However, the Prairie Storm is copper plated, so we're gonna go ahead and throw our Golden Pheasant in right behind it. We can shoot them both into the same side of the gel without turning it around, because it'll be very easy to see which pellet belongs to which shell. All right, let's go. All right, let's go and see how we did. I've got the Prairie Storm and the Golden Pheasant here in the ballistics gel. The results that I'm seeing are pretty much what we expected, but the big question is how much further is the faster load ahead? Let's go ahead and take a look. They're both from left to right, and you can see definitely the copper one is further ahead. So what I'm gonna do, guys, I'm gonna measure all of these pellets. I'm gonna figure out how much further the Prairie Storm is, put that data into a chart, give it to you along with the pattern data in about 5 seconds. Well, that was another 1,000 pellet counting test. Nonetheless, I did it for you guys anyway. I've got 3 different charts I'm gonna show you. Let's jump into the first one. You can see right here that the Fiocchi at 30 yards, 277 pellets in a 30-inch circle. That's 93% pattern density. That is a really, really tight pattern here. All right, then you can see the Federal, 268 pellets, 97% pattern density. So actually the pattern density on the Federal was a little bit higher, even though the Fiocchi had more pellets on paper, and it ought to because it had more pellets in the shell. So the Fiocchi comes out 3% more total pellets at 30 yards. Now, does that matter? That is so many pellets at 30 yards. No, it makes no difference at all. You actually have too many pellets in both of these circles. You probably need to move to an improved cylinder or a cylinder choke if you're going to be firing at that range. Modified with these loads is too much. Now let's look at the 40-yard data. We can see here the Fiocchi, 220 pellets on the paper at 40 yards. The Federal, interestingly enough, with the full choke tube, outdid the Fiocchi. It came out 249 pellets at 40 yards. So the Federal comes out ahead 13% at 40 yards. Now again, for both of these loads, that's too many pellets. How many pellets do you need? About 100 is my rule of thumb. I want to see 100 or a little bit more. Over 200, you probably should be using modified at this range. Now, if you're going to be hunting at 40 or 50 or 60 yards, well then yeah, you probably want to go with the full choke tube. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the ballistics gel data. We could see here the Fiocchi 3.32 inches of penetration versus the Federal at 4.19 inches of penetration. So the Federal comes out 26% more ballistics gel penetration at 40 yards. Now, how much penetration do you need? 3 inches or more. So both of these loads hit the minimum of what you want to see. Keep in mind, these are number 5s, but the Federal really comes out a significant chunk of head here, guys. So what's the bottom line on this test? Well, the Federal outperformed the Fiocchi in pattern and ballistics gel penetration. Now, both of these loads did more than enough. Both are more than viable. With a different choke tube in your gun, one may perform better than the other, so always check. If you'd like to see steel bismuth and TSS duck hunting ammo tested against each other, check out this video right here. Thank you so much for watching. God bless you, and go get 'em in the woods.